Welcome, and thanks so much for joining us and tuning in for this webinar. And we're going to go a deep dive into the 7 transformations for revolutionary CEO development, strategizing, and results to really supercharge your energy, clarity, and creativity for even more revolutionary results, high quality relationships, more profitable relationships, and greater good fortune in market fluctuations, and above all, long successful tenure and good health. So just breaking this down quickly, when we talk about CEO development, it's kind of like software development. It's really dealing with those programmings, those deep-seated programmings that any leader may have, and how to really upgrade them to their most optimal levels. So based on good inner development, taking care of the inside, then we can have great strategizing on the outside, which leads to better results on the outside as well. So that's the basic premise of how this revolutionary development is set up. So let's get to it. So who is this for? This is really for positively disruptive, forward-thinking, action-taking CEOs who really want more revolutionary development and strategizing to achieve even more revolutionary results in their business and life. It's really for CEOs who want to develop their human capital beyond what is currently perceived as peak performance to actually higher and higher levels all the time, not just when it's critical. And also for CEOs who really want a deeper sense of good fortune and market fluctuations, knowing that they can handle them, and a long, successful tenure in good health. So that gives you the ability to really maximize on your total net worth in health, wealth, and happiness. So who is this not for? Well, it's not for those who just want a band-aid solution. That it's really for people who want root cause solutions and that really create sustained success in health, wealth, and happiness as a CEO. So it's not for those who really don't have a sincere purpose to really continue to develop and grow as a CEO to create better results for themselves, their team, and the world. So let's get right to the crux of this matter. Is why is higher CEO development for better strategizing really important right now? Well, first of all, the world is really a more competitive place. It's changing faster, it's far less predictable, and even the events over the last week show that we don't know what different economies or parts of the economy are going to do at any point in time. So we've got to be more developed to be able to handle them. So we want to also be more developed because we want to avert this notion or even this reality called active inertia. And it was actually coined by Dr. Donald Sull, who is a senior lecturer at MIT Sloan School of Management. And basically what active inertia is really busily or continuing to do more of the business the same old successful way, really at the risk of being blindsided by something that is more progressive and revolutionary and positively disruptive. So averting this active inertia as a CEO, you actually avert being part of what's called the topple rate, which is the speed at which companies lose their leadership status in the market. So in 2010, Deloitte study actually showed that the topple rate had doubled between 1965 and 2009, which just shows the amount of change and increased competitive that has gone on in the world in the last 50, 60 years. So it also found in the study that C-suite execs, the topple rate is moving at an increasingly rapid rate. So it's concluding that nearly every advantage gained is shown to be temporal. Now, we're going to share with you why you can actually be ahead of the topple rate and beat the topple rate because you are becoming more and more developed each and every day as a CEO. So also just further on this important point, why this is important, why further development of CEOs is required is because the established status quo of businesses are actually more and more vulnerable to being challenged and superseded. And we're actually in an era of what I call disrupted legacies. So Reid Hoffman, you may have heard of him, he's the co-founder, chief or executive chair of LinkedIn. He's also a billionaire. He believes that the long-term effects of globalization, and you have to remember that some countries are still less developed than other countries, so this globalization is still going on in a big, big way, and that the tech revolution are actually underhyped. So he said once great companies are falling more frequently and more quickly than in times past, the forces of competition and change that brought down Detroit are actually global and local. They threaten every business, every industry, every city. So just some quick examples here of legacy disruption. The one is the Firestone Tire Company, which was surpassed and has struggled to catch up with what happened when the radial tire design came into effect. And we're finding that even successful disruptive people and CEOs could be outpaced by the next revolutionary approach. And another example here is that Kodak, which my father actually worked for in New Zealand back in the 80s as a personnel manager, the company there had like 170,000 employees globally, and they sold over 85% of all photo paper worldwide in 1997, which is not that long ago. So they actually went bankrupt within a few years. And what's being predicted is that what actually happened to Kodak can happen to a lot of industries in the next 10 years, and most people or CEOs actually don't see it coming. Other examples include Microsoft being more and more trumped by Apple in personal computing, Facebook starting to edge over Google in online advertising, and even flip cameras, which I remember were pretty cool last decade, were trumped very quickly by smartphone video technology. So Robert Goldman, he's an anti-aging sports medicine pioneer. He's kind of one of these futuristic guys. He believes now that this is going to happen in many industries, and he stated, "Welcome to the fourth industrial revolution. Welcome to the exponential age. Software will disrupt most traditional industries in the next 5 to 10 years. Uber is just a software tool. They don't own any cars, and they're now the biggest taxi company in the world. Airbnb is now the biggest hotel company in the world, even though they don't own any properties." And so when they talk about software will disrupt us, well, where does software come from? Well, it comes from some enlightened thinking about how to do things in a better way. So which is really CEO leadership development that is really driving that, or ingenuity. So if this is truly the exponential age, it's going to put more demand on CEOs' minds, hearts, physiologies. And we know from our experience over the last couple of decades working with a number of top CEOs that they do have very strong physiologies and are able to handle the responsibility, to be in that position. The problem is they also tend to absorb much of the stress and demands on them to create progress. So if this goes unchecked for any extent of time, then, and is not purified, it can cause severe health problems and even premature death. And we probably all know at least of a few CEOs, renowned or not, who have had this experience. So here's the bottom line why CEO development is required, is that all that is happening outside of any CEO, ultimately, because they're the biggest influence and catalyst of growth in the company, is simply a mirror of them. So the outer reality is just really reflecting an inner reality. So when a CEO is doubting, then that's what tends to get reflected back to them. When they're decisive, then clients become more and more that way. So developing your inner reality is really what drives progress of your outer reality. So then who you are and what you offer becomes so compelling that no one can really resist you. So what we're going to do here in the next 45 minutes or so is how to further enhance your current level of CEO development and strategizing to really achieve the next level of revolutionary results you're looking for, and how to have more energy that gives you more clarity, creativity, to achieve that sustained success that is often demanded by you or from you, from stakeholders, even amidst industry disruptions that may be going on, and how to really have good fortune in market fluctuations. Because, some people obviously survive the market fluctuations, some don't. There's a very good reason why. We're also going to get into how to neutralize stress so that you can have better health and relationships to prolong your leadership vitality, durability, and longevity, and really how to change your awareness and mindset through finding, knowing, and activating your and others' leverage point for positive change. So just some house rules for today's webinar. We're not really getting into, this is not really a get rich or get a fix quick scheme. This is not absorb some content and don't take any action or allow it to really integrate with you. This is not how to fake being a CEO so you can fool everyone. You really must be a true CEO who knows, owns, and truly believes in the value you can deliver. And if you have that part covered, then we believe and we know that we can unlock the floodgates for progress for you, but without it, we can't really help. Just to iterate here that neither our results or our clients' results are typical. The people you're going to hear about are hardworking yet open-minded CEOs who took and trusted our input, put in the effort to develop themselves, and because of this, they were able to strategize and execute more effectively, get revolutionary results, and had more good fortune and good health in the process. So the results you get, obviously, for anything are entirely up to you, and we're just simply here to enhance and speed up the process of you doing this. So, does this sound like you? Maybe you're a CEO who loves your role. You sometimes, get some really pressing blocks and delays to your progress that become really frustrating, stressful, really demanding of too much of your time, energy, and money. Maybe you have a really strong mind and body, but secretly know your work is corrupting in some way your health through layers of stress and fatigue that are building up, and you're really not sure how to counteract this. Maybe you also have a clarity or creative block about how to strategize better, how to expand and solve your most pressing problem, so you can move faster forward, but you're really not sure why that is. Right, why that block exists. Or maybe you're wondering how you can read, understand, relate more deeply and connect more deeply with your people so you can get the best out of them and don't have to feel like you're looking over your shoulder to manage them or keep an eye on what they're doing. So you might also be, that you're being more aware and sharper is pivotal to your business success, but just don't seem to know how to really develop more of this. Or maybe you've got it all together on the outside. You've done a really great job in doing that, which is obviously what CEOs do, have it all together on the outside. That's obviously very important, and you, or at least you maybe give that impression, yet on the inside you feel some deep sense or lack of simplicity, peace, and security, and you want more of that. Or you'd really like to magnetize more quality relationships within your team, with suppliers, with customers. Maybe you're sick of just bad relationships that have really slowed your progress, and you don't want to have to manage any more pains and heartache that comes from relationships not going well. Maybe you feel like the ventures that you're taking on are just bringing way more overhead and complexity and headache, and you can't really figure out how to scale while maintaining a sense of simplicity and unity and integrity with yourself and with your team's culture. And maybe things are just changing faster more than ever for you, and you feel like you're more and more vulnerable to volatility, and you wish there was just some way to have more inner stability amidst all this. And there's also this proverbial invisible ceiling that CEOs maybe come across every now and then about how much revenue they can generate each quarter, which they just can't seem to crack through. And for some reason, things just aren't working out how you'd like them or how you'd expect them to, and you can't really figure out why that is. So basically, we're going to cover everything you need to know to achieve that revolutionary result or results you're looking for as a CEO to be able to maximize on your total net worth and health, wealth, and happiness. So the real problem here, if you're having these experiences, is that you may not be, or just may slightly be, stuck in an old CEO development and strategizing model and haven't quite fully moved to a new highly leveraged, highly effective, and predictable new CEO development and strategizing model for achieving revolutionary results. So here's what's going to happen once you move to the new model. What you're going to find is that things will work out faster with less time, energy, and money. You will have more abundance of energy, which gives you more of that clarity and creativity that you're looking for to move forward at mere will. And you can also enjoy more of your life outside your role as well. So you'll find also that your business and leadership team has that more value of simplicity, unity, integrity, which we know from our experience are 3 intrinsic values for frictionless progress. And you also find more support just starts to come from everywhere for what you really want to happen. And you'll find you'll have a proven, repeatable leadership model that can generate as much progress and as momentum as you want. Because the thing with development is just layers to it. the more deeper and expanded you become with your development, you'll find you're able to generate more and more momentum and progress. And to have all these benefits with this new model, all while really tapping back into that intense joy that you probably had when you first became a CEO before everything got just so complicated and draining. So a quick little bit about ourselves. We are New Mavericks. We're the world's most truthful CEO advisors. We actually started our CEO advising while being full-time meditating monks and have now worked with top CEOs of multi-million, multi-billion-dollar companies on 3 continents over the last 20 years or so. And when we say truthful, what we mean by that, we mean the whole truth, what's good for the whole, as well as what's good for your self-interest, both at the same time. So we've developed in the craft and art of developing and supporting CEOs and creating revolutionary results so they really maintain positions beyond the norm and or move up to higher levels of responsibility. And when CEOs work with us, we find that they seem to have just positive, unexpected events of good fortune happen due to the revolutionary development and strategizing we do with them. So I'm Ramon Newman, if I haven't said that already, and my good business partner is Paulo D'Angelo. So we're not just CEOs here to blow our own trumpet. We have got some really tangible results from some very top CEOs. And here's one from our good client, Mark Waller. He's former CEO, now chairman of EBOS Limited. He is New Zealand CEO of the Year back in 2010. That was the first year we worked with him. And he was able to take a company from down in the low millions or the single-digit millions right up to 6 billion in the space of his tenure over the last 25 years. But he managed to actually take the company from 3 to 6 billion in a 6-month period when he was working with us a couple of years ago now. So he was initially blocked in his merger acquisition vision he had by his shareholders, and we worked with him on some deeper development and strategizing. And when it came time to vote, all of the shareholders voted in favor at the deciding meeting. He's now chairman of the board. He's engaged in new exciting ventures while working way less hours. And his experience of doing this big deal, he said, organizing the biggest deal in our corporate history involved long hours, tight time frames, and multiple no-go hurdles, and multiple possibilities for stress. He said, despite this, I personally feel I am the eye of the storm. All is calm and relaxed. And interestingly, since our session, issues seem to be falling into place. And that's the power of what we do, is we like to have this experience where clients, just things start to fall into place after they work with us. So the next client that we work with, we started with him and we had about 3 stores. It's Jason Gunn. He's founder, managing director of Oliver's Real Food, the world's fastest growing organic fast food restaurant chain. And he was nominated for Australian Entrepreneur of the Year 2015. So when we worked with him, we were able to support him in taking the company from 3 stores to 10. He's now up to like 18 or 19, going 20, and about to go even bigger soon. And that happened within a couple of years. So his experience of working with us was, I feel like I've been supercharged over the last year working with you guys. I wake up earlier with more creativity. I seem to have more time in my day, even though I'm busier, and I'm more in the now than I've ever been. And my staff are commenting that everything I touch is turning to gold. I find I'm more aware to avoid getting tired, as I know now this prevents the wheels from falling off. So another client here, Mr. Phil Prosser. He's founder and CEO of Feedback ASAP. When we were working with him, he was actually going through a hostile takeover, or being taken over by some venture capitalists in his company, or had got involved with his company, and it was in a real dilemma. And eventually we led him to the idea that there's actually something bigger for him to do. So he ended up creating something even more revolutionary in what he does. He created a new business. And he said about us, he said, these guys are deep thinkers. They help me think outside my limitations and the blocks I've created. They assist me to see myself based on my potential. As I change my view of myself, the perceived problem also changes. This enables me to move forward with confidence and clarity. And that's just what we're doing there, is tweaking development. So as you tweak the program, tweak the code, then the perceived outer also changes. And Phil said they are very insight. They make the complex simple while being highly useful. They are trusted, truly trusted advisors. So, and that's just the start of it. In the 20 years we've collectively worked and been doing this. We've helped over 40 CEOs and executives overcome their adversities and get revolutionary results that has given them even greater total net worth in their health, wealth, and happiness. And just a quick note here, most of our clients actually end up working with us for a number of years as partners to their progress due to the constant flow of value we're able to bring them. So what is this new model that puts you on the right side of positively disruptive change? Firstly, just to qualify, it's not about the change on the outside we're fighting. It's ourselves and having that deserving power to be the revolutionary change, or at least be in the flow of it. So often, CEOs can get in the habit of fighting things on the outside when it's really just about adjusting something on the inside that creates the shift on the outside. So deserving power, having this deserving power is what really allows us to have the right idea at the right time. And we'll talk more about this later. So there are 7 transformations we believe are required in your CEO development and strategizing to achieve the revolution results you desire. And we're going to go through this from basically macro or inner to micro outer. So the first one is developing greater awareness. Now, this is the basis for being able to capitalize on the upside of things while also being protected from the downside of things and really handling those market fluctuations, which obviously are going to happen. Change is the nature of life, change is inevitable, and being able to handle them smoothly. If you're aware and you're ahead of the curve and knowing, and then you're going to be able to make the adjustments. So greater awareness, we find that when you're tired and overly excited, then we found CEOs tend to make less effective decisions and lose money. When people are balanced and alert, then they're more likely to make good decisions that are correct and lead to gains, or at least protection or minimization of loss. So greater awareness, just to qualify this from our perspective, is obviously it's being aware of yourself and your environment and how you're affecting it and it's affecting you. But really what this comes from, if we break it down to a neurophysiological terms, it's really functioning from a higher frequency through being in what we call a global alpha state, which is a restfully alert state. So what that means basically is that you're thinking and envisioning from this alpha state, which is an expanded, settled, alert, subconscious mind, while acting from a beta or a gamma state, which is when we're focused and using our conscious attention. And when you're able to integrate these two together, we get this global alpha, which is really world-class brain functioning. And this is what allows a leader to do what's good for the whole, at the same time serving their self-interest. So there's a complete balance there. So good awareness is the basis for having optimal energy levels that give you greater clarity, decisiveness, the ability to give more and preempt change and react better to it. And the theory here in physics, when it comes to the power of your awareness, is called measurement theory. And it states that an object is transformed through the process of observation. Therefore, the more powerfully developed your awareness is, the more powerfully you're going to influence the world around you. Greater awareness also allows you to really change your mindset or someone else's by being more aware of what your or their leverage point for change is. If you don't know that leverage point for change, it's hard to change. But if you're really clear on that, it's just like a catalyst. So greater awareness allows you to be more curious, adventurous, and entrepreneurial, which is actually shown to stimulate higher levels of dopamine. That's the positive energy chemical. And this is very important for CEO because ultimately people are buying the energy of people or the energy of a company before they buy what you have to offer. And greater awareness really allows you to know when to take that precise, timely action and when to let go and rest to allow things to unfold. Continuing on this greater awareness transformation, most leaders, business leaders, really understand that something more than what they control affects their company's overall performance. Now, some call it luck. Well, back in 1995, Fortune magazine did an article based on some research. It was called What's Luck Got to Do with It? And the article explained that in a 20-year longitudinal study, they could only attribute no more than 50% of a person's success to the education they received, their family income they grew up with, the neighborhood they lived in, or other factors that could be considered as tangible. And the author had to basically sum it up and say he could only attribute the rest of it, the rest of the 50%, to good luck. Now, recent research that has come out through Dr. Harold Harung and Frederick Travis, and they recently published a book called Excellence Through Mind-Brain Development, The Secrets of World-Class Performers. They stated in this book that, as you can see just from a snippet here, that everyone obviously wants to perform at better and better levels and have more happiness in life. Now, the reality revealed by research shows that the factors that we think underlie top performance are not really explaining greatness. Factors like the level of education, the extent of that you practice, or the size of incentives. And the illustration they gave here is that research on millions of adults and thousands of studies spanning up to 90 years shows that education accounts for only 1% of performance. Work experience, only 3%, and the age that you're at, pretty much 0%. So that's a pretty amazing statistic. And obviously this is pointing to something intangible that is driving success of people that are really achieving great levels of success. So we put it down to greater awareness. Now, obviously, how is greater awareness cultured? Well, many different ways. We have some very powerful ways that we know of to do that, and that's part of what we do. So it's not uncommon for businesses to have all the right people and systems and concepts and operating procedures, but still not be successful, right? I know that probably sucks, but that's reality of some situations. So the notion of luck or random luck, we know really doesn't resonate with most CEOs who are accustomed to really hammering out the success. However, we do know that most CEOs seem to know that there is some factor that we can access, and let's label it the X factor, which is pretty common for people to know about. So whether you realize it or not, what we're all seeking to be more developed, to have better strategizing, to have more revolutionary results, we're seeking more awareness or more consciousness-based leadership. And that's what really is driving things on the outside. So it's not really about what luck has got to do with it. It's about what awareness has to do with it. So here's something I heard recently from Jack Ma. He's the CEO of Alibaba. Now, I believe Alibaba is one of the fastest growing companies in the world, one of the biggest companies in the world. It's kind of like the Google of China, as far as I can relate to it. So he stated recently that physical outside growth has its limits at some point. Obviously, that's with our body, can be with anything. But he's saying from there on, it's all about growth of mind, values, and culture. And growth of awareness and whole brain functioning is really what drives the development of these three things: the mind, the values, and the culture. So developing greater awareness, here's something we got some feedback from one of our clients. He said, the calls I have with Paulo and Ramon are highly insightful, providing the link between self-development and the practical application to business, which I have not found elsewhere. The time spent is invaluable for stopping to reflect deeply and meaningfully, helping challenge long-held views and conventional practices and see things for what they really are, which is necessary in our fast-paced and rapidly changing world. This has resulted in greater clarity of thought and heightened awareness, which I believe has made me a more effective GM. Jim Kelvin Highland is the GM, General Manager at eBoss Healthcare. So here's an insight, kind of wrapping up this greater awareness transformation. Greater awareness, when it really comes down to it, involves purification. Purification of stresses, vices, ignorance, negativity that allows you to feel more. When you go through this transformation, it allows you to feel more, see more, know more, and have more support. And as former competitive athletes and full-time meditating monks, we're actually masters of purification on all these levels. And this is what has allowed us to create more awareness, support, and protection for CEOs. So the principle here is purification leads to more superfluid progress. So the bottom line with having great awareness is that people are magnetized to you because you are clear in your awareness about who you are, what you're good at, what your purpose is, and where you're going. So transformation number 2 is having the right thought at the right time. And this naturally evolves from the last transformation of having greater awareness. So this means having sufficient awareness to accurately simplify and unify relevant facts from your environment and from people, and filtering them through your intuitive, instinctive awareness to really know the truth that allows you to succeed, because we know that ultimately truth always succeeds in the end. So having the right thought at the right time means you have the right knowledge and intention, which is obviously the basis of the right action. And then you can take the right angle and approach, and you can more fully trust yourself to move forward with more confidence, because your thoughts are just that much more coherent and powerful, and they're right and they're timely thoughts, good for the whole and good for your own self-interest. So a little more research I did on this, kind of identifying realities where the wrong thought in the wrong time really kind of stuffs a few things up, is that in 2007, this is before the big crash, a report called Sustaining New York's and the US Global Financial Services Leadership. It was actually done by McKinsey, and you probably heard of the name McKinsey. It's the world's leading management consultants, and it was commissioned by Mike Bloomberg, who's a very successful businessman. He's the New York City mayor, I believe, at the time, and Chuck Schumer, who's a senior senator in New York. It actually turned out to be the wrong thought at the wrong time, because the report encouraged less regulation of financial markets and lower bank capital requirements, the exact opposite of what was actually required. So the wrong thought at the wrong time is usually tied to an imbalance between what is good for the whole and what's good for one's self-interested gains. So just to elaborate further on this, it's really not about more or less regulation from outside sources. It's really about more CEOs and regulators, or anyone who considers themselves a CEO of their life, having more enlightened self-regulation, where what you are doing is good for yourself and good for the whole at the same time. So this enlightened self-regulation is really when you are mentally and emotionally balanced and have enough developed awareness to have that right thought at the right time. So on the other side of the equation, having the right thought at the right time example here is that if you ever saw the movie The Big Short, and these are real life characters, Michael Berry, Greg Lippman, Steve Eisman, somehow they were able to have the right thought at the right time and knew the truth of how the market was really going to go in 2007, 2008. And here's just another testimony from a client. Paulo's very good at tuning in to CEOs and what they need to know at what time. And this email came back after one of that instance. He said, "Hi, Paulo, I just wanted to thank you for your calls today. As always, your timing was spot on. Yet, more importantly, so was your message. I really appreciate the guidance and support, especially at this time. Speak soon. Cheers, HK." So just to kind of wrap up this right thought at the right time, this is ideal time management, because time management is based on energy management, which is ultimately based on thought management, where you're not under or over analyzing anything. And this equates to maximum productivity. And results also, having the right thought at the right time, is more cooperation with team, harmony with team, clients, and suppliers, because they're so appreciative that you just come up with the right thought at the right time. And this enables you to be more at ease, more settled, and calmer in any negotiation. So the bottom line for having the right thought at the right time is that it neutralizes this bias or tendency called availability misweighing bias for yourself, your team, suppliers, and customers. And just a quick definition here, this is humankind's tendency to actually overweight what is easily available to it, mainly through the media, or it could be any circumstance, but where we kind of tend to overweight the importance of some particular piece of content relative to the actual context. And the example you can commonly give is that, there's a plane crash, right? And it's really unfortunate, but the chance of those happening these days compared to how many flights take off every day is relatively small. So to say that I'm never going to fly again is overweighting that bit of information. So when you're able to have the right thought at the right time, you're neutralizing this bias in yourself and others' attention, so you're more focused on what is real and true, not what is overhyped in your or anyone's mind. So just a testimony here on this, right thought at the right time. This is from Tim O'Halloran. He runs the O'Halloran Group, realtor brokerage up in San Francisco. He said, all these calls are powerful. They are reality checks, calls, and very exclusive to me. They reaffirm and inner belief that reminds me of what is real on the inside, which in turn puts me back on track. And this past year has been incredibly eye-opening. You have helped me have more courage and honesty with myself and all people in my life. My happiness is the highest it has been since I can remember. And that has really fueled his success. When he's got that inside right, he's just really gone on to bigger and better things. So, transformation number 3, enlivening deeper inspirational purpose for yourself and your people. So, just a bit of context to this one. Advisory firm, leadership advisory firm Korn Ferry recently released studies of an executive survey that asked questions specific to both personal and organizational purpose. Now, the first question was, is there a long-term financial benefit to companies that make strong commitment to purpose-driven leadership? The respondent was, yeah, 2/3 of people said to a great extent. The next question was, does understanding and embracing the mission purpose of your organization increase employee productivity? And again, over 2/3 said to a great extent. And what is the personal principal driver at work? And 73% believe their work has some purpose and meaning. So obviously having a deep inspirational purpose is important, at least in theory, or people like to think that. Now, in reality, an NYU and Imperative.com study found that only 28% of employees define their role as a source of personal fulfillment and a way to help others. And Deloitte study found that organizations who do not act with a higher sense of purpose actually possess an average employee engagement score of only 23%. So that's completely underutilized human capital. Like there's like 3 or 4 times more that could be utilized if there was just a deeper sense of inspirational purpose. So if a sense of purpose at work is linked with this higher employee engagement, and employee engagement is linked with better business results, then why isn't there greater emphasis put on enlivening a deeper inspirational purpose? So when you have this, you find that you're able to be more true to your vision and who you are despite what circumstances on the outside will throw at you. And enlivening it becomes, just on the negative side here, it actually becomes hard to realize your vision when you're not being true to yourself, when you're foggy on your purpose, and you're not really enjoying what you're doing because you've become a slave basically to the outside circumstances. So having this helps you and others be more motivated and creative because you know why you're doing what you're doing. It allows everyone to be on the same page and make plays for each other, and enables everyone to see things through to the end till the goal is achieved because they know and sense on a deeper subconscious level what that deep inspirational purpose is. So that in turn encourages people to go beyond their limitations and boundaries. So here's a quote from, again, Mark Waller, and he said, as a veteran CEO with a long track record of 25 years in the listed company environment, I've always been curious how a self-motivated person reinvigorates thinking. Having clear ideas along with inner confidence to carry them out drives success and sustain and feed inner drive. The sessions with Paulo and Ramon has heightened my awareness and understanding of the great practical value of this for others and myself. This has raised new ideas, new ways of looking at things, and understanding people, including myself. So number 4 transformation is having long, successful tenure in good health. So this is for yourself, your team, your clients. You want everyone to have a really good sense of good health to ensure longevity of your business. Because when anyone is sick or feeling overstressed or not getting the rest and diet that is required, then it's going to affect performance of the whole business. So having good clarity for good decision making is really based on good health, mind and body, and having optimal health allows you to be at your best to create sustained success that in turn maximize your ability to maximize your total net worth and health, wealth, and happiness. And having good health allows you to be more in yourself, believe in yourself, believe more deeply in yourself. When you're sick, it's kind of hard to believe in yourself, start questioning yourself. And it gives you more ability to persevere more easily through any challenging situation. So a quote here from one of our clients, about having leadership tenure, longevity, and good health. He said, if you're looking for a new and profound way to transform your personal energy and performance and that of your business, I highly recommend having an introductory call with the team at New Mavericks to experience the effect they have on minimizing negativity, removing obstacles, creating clarity about yourself and your business, which brings about enhanced well-being and good fortune. That's from Tim Hawthorne. He was one of the forefathers of the infomercial. It's now become the short-form infomercial, or direct response advertising, as they call it, and he was inducted to the Hall of Fame last couple of years. So transformation number 5, developing high-quality, authentic, profitable relationships. So this means relationships that are on the same page in mind, heart, and intention. And these are ultimately made on a very fine feeling level where what you and they know and feel in the mind and heart are basically one and the same when you're really on that deeply connected level. Plus, it is also to do with what the environment and the circumstances require to move forward in a better way. So there's a relationship with yourself, relationship with others, and relationship with your environment. All has to be considered in context to really have high quality, authentic, profitable relationships. So this also creates more trust for bigger and better business to happen, and you're more likely to get paid on time. Obviously very important to have good cash flow, and that really comes from having good quality, authentic relationships. It enhances communication and makes it more simplistic, or not simplistic, but have more simplicity to it, more unity to it, more truthfulness to it, and more understanding comes out of your communication. And also protects you from betrayal and delays because someone really has your back. It also creates less frustration that allows you to have a more harmonious culture. You know, no one likes being in a frustrating culture or a culture where you can't trust people, and it's very important to have this for revolution results to happen. So if you can't protect and enhance your relationships, you may not have a business that will perform. Is kind of the bottom line there. So transformation number 6 is developing better mindsets that support strategies. And what this is all about is having a more powerful, coherent, and correct mindset behind your strategies allows them to work more effectively. So what a lot of people are realizing is that success is becoming 90% psychology, 89% psychology, and 10-20% mechanics. And the ultimate high performance mindset is when we have this global alpha mindset, which is when we have this clear, settled subconscious that 100% knows what you want to happen, that includes the whole and your own self-interest, while having an alert and adaptable beta gamma conscious mind that's able to take care of all the details in a very coherent, orderly way. So having this better mindsets to support strategies means that you've developed neural pathways that allow you to go beyond your past conditioning or experiences or limitations, and then literally your mind is set for an inevitable success. And having this stronger quality of mindset to support strategies enhances knowing, owning, believing, and trusting your vision, the value of who you are, what you provide and deliver, and what your value and worth is in return. And we've had experiences recently where leaders and executives, they've kind of been corrupted, psychologically corrupted, because of a superimposition of another culture. And it's really taken them away from having a good mindset to support all the strategies they're doing. And even recently, an example that happened in the sport was the England soccer team was beaten by Iceland in the European Cup. And Iceland's just a small, I don't know, maybe it's 500,000 or 1 million people or something. And even though England has these amazing players, they have great strategies and skill, but yet their mindset just didn't allow them to get the victory that was required. So it's vitally important that no matter how good your strategies are, there has to be a very powerful mindset behind it. So you want to have a mindset that's unwavering, unstoppable mindset, even amidst any distractions or non-supporting influences. So here's a great quote that Paulo loves. It comes from a famous 17th century Japanese samurai. He was undefeated in 60 duels. He's authored a book called The Book of Five Rings. It says, there is nothing outside of yourself that can ever enable you to get better, stronger, richer, quicker, or smarter. Everything is within. Everything exists. Seek nothing outside of yourself. Miyamoto musashi. It was the samurai. It's a pretty powerful quote. So the last, seventh transformation is executing for maximum results. So this requires seeing the whole context first so that you know how best to execute all the parts and content of your strategy most effectively. No good having a really clear strategy, but it's completely out of tune with the context of what's required. So this requires, obviously, ultimately, any good strategy utilizes the path of least resistance in action. It's like water getting to the ocean. And that obviously water doesn't mess around. It just goes however quickly it can get to the ocean. So this requires good, positive, coherent, superfluid energy. Otherwise, you're going to really be working hard and less likely to attract clients that you want or discover new ways of gaining greater market share opportunities in JV partnerships. And executing for maximum results is based on influencing the future rather than kind of sitting around analyzing it or being conditioned by the past. And it requires a great deal of skill and action, precise skill and action about what to do, where your mind is set on the outcome yet flexible and how it unfolds to get there. And it also involves, this executing for maximum results involves knowing the timing of when to execute. No good having the right thought at the wrong time. So when it comes to achieving revolutionary results, we've found these 7 transformations are needed to happen to a really good degree to at least have a chance of creating the outcome you want. Now, however, having good deserving power is what really overcomes obstacles and delays when executing. And we find that the biggest burden that CEOs have is the blocks and delays that come up in the process of executing their ideas and vision. And this is due to the level of deserving power that the CEO has at that given point in time, because we all kind of know, whether we acknowledge it or not, is that we usually get what we deserve, not necessarily what we want. So you have a choice when it comes to dealing with this. You can either take the long route of fighting through, battling through the blocks, which is a valid way. There's some valid to that. But that option takes longer. It requires more resources, more energy, and probably takes a toll on your health. Or you can take the shorter route of utilizing more powerful techniques and approaches, which we call our secret sources, that give you the deserving power and energy to unblock the unseen causes of blocks and delays much faster. So how do you have more of this deserving power to really overcome blocks and delays faster and even avert them? Basically, what you do is you start investing and enhancing your CEO development and strategizing, and especially doing it with those that have a proven track record on doing that. Now, we've spent over 40,000 hours, in a rough estimate, developing higher states of awareness as full-time meditating monks, over 20,000 hours training as competitive athletes, over $300,000 on personal and health development, over 20,000 hours working with top CEOs around the world on their development and strategizing. So we're pretty much in a point where we know the very best time and field-tested, proven ways to develop the full potential of any CEO's human capital, so they do have that deserving power and supportive edge that allows them to create even more better strategies that leads to revolutionary results faster. Plus, we're having that value of higher quality, profitable relationships, and having that value of awareness to know how to create that and purify the relationships that aren't serving you, and really create that good fortune in any market fluctuation, and ultimately that long, successful tenure and good health. Plus, having individuals with highly developed awareness supporting your development and strategizing from the deepest levels actually creates a coherent field effect of protection from incoherent negativity outside and inside yourself that is trying to actually throw you off your path or undermine your efforts. In physics, this is actually known as the Meissner effect, where these outside influences just do not penetrate your direction and your vision and yourself as a CEO. So implementing our complete and proven revolutionary structure that only we exclusively provide, don't know of anyone that provides it the way we do, you'll be able to cut through all your deepest and biggest blocks and delays to achieve that revolutionary result you want. Just another example here from one of our clients is Porus Demacia. He's a property developer in New Zealand, and he went from a financial crisis back after 08, it was 09, I think. He was really in a pinch, and he's gone to renewed business fortunes. He's on the wrong end of that real estate crash in 08, and he's now back doing multi-million-dollar projects, and multiple of these at a time. And he said to us, he's just a quote he said about us, is they gave me the knowledge, advice, and a profound technique that's helped me stabilize the situation from a personal and emotional level first, and secondly, with improvements in my business and financial situation now unfolding. I still continue to work with them and intend to do so forever. And another client here went to a five-fold increase in business plus more serenity at the same time. Sometimes people go through massive expansion of business and it just brings more stress and lack of deep sense of peace. And this is Robert Haig. He's managing partner of Earth Communications. And when we started with him back in, I think it was like 2011, 2012, the business was growing slowly, kind of steadily, had a handful of clients basically. And they now got so many clients, they get to choose their clients, and they've even bought their own office building. And he said to us, he said, "Thank you, Ramon and Paula. You have been instrumental in helping me move forward with a deep inner and outer transformation that I've been working on for many years. In the 18 months I've been working with you, I have accelerated in changing from being a generally angry and overly aggressive person to experiencing increasing inner serenity and love." So at this point, you basically have two options. One is go it alone and spend tens of thousands of dollars, probably hundreds of thousands, figuring out how to create revolutionary development and strategizing for revolutionary results, and probably get frustrated and waste maybe 10 or 20 years of your life doing it the hard way. We've actually had clients acknowledge and admit this to us. Number two, option two, implement a globally proven system from CEO development and strategizing specialists who have done it for themselves and others, and who have actually mastered it and are the best in the world at it. So obviously, most would probably go with option two and decide to work with us. So here's what you're in for in terms of the revolutionary results and speed at which you'll get them when you fully embrace our new Maverick revolutionary CEO development and strategizing approaches that are highly personalized to you. So the approximate timeline for results, within the first 1 to 2 weeks, you'll have more indomitable energy that gives you heightened clarity and creativity to strategize more powerfully. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have a deeper sense of ease, simplicity, unity, and purpose, clarity and confidence in yourself about that revolutionary result you really want. Within 3 to 4 weeks, you can experience more support building for results, often coming in the form of unexpected quarters, in the form of more connected, trusted, high-quality relationships with people who can help you achieve your goals, or purification of old ones that are holding you back. And within 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to see that revolutionary result really start to become a tangible reality if it hasn't already. And that's just in the first 6 weeks. So if this sounds like the boost you've been looking for and you really want to achieve that revolutionary result, then let's talk. Over the next 4 days, we've set aside some time to speak with you, go more deeply into understanding the revolutionary results you're looking for and how we can customize our revolutionary CEO development strategizing model to supercharge you and the revolutionary results you want. So either myself or one of my partners happy to speak with you for roughly 45 minutes to understand your situation, map out an action plan to support that result you're looking for. And this call will probably be the most valuable 45 minutes, to be honest, you'll spend giving yourself and your business a huge boost of support and evolution for this year and beyond. So who is the strategy for? Well, the strategy session for? Well, it's for CEOs currently leading a business in the finance, investment, entertainment, health, fitness, sport, real estate, human executive resource, and tech industries who sell products and services they truly believe are positively beneficial to their market and the world, and we're convinced they are also. Reason why these industries, because we relate to these, we've worked in these industries with CEOs, and we pretty much understand the dynamics there. CEOs who know they are good at what they do. They believe they can take their company, marketplace, and industry to the next level through a better development and strategizing process. It's also for CEOs who truly love developing themselves, which allows you to naturally be in that zone so you are more effortlessly creating more revolutionary results without destroying your well-being. And CEOs who understand that they need to have some skin in the game to make a real commitment to developing themselves to another level, to have better strategies that creates revolutionary results. So the ultimate story here is your story, which we'd love to understand, plus our story, which you've got a bit of a taste of. It's going to create a new epic revolutionary story that we create together. So if this is for you and you want to speak, you definitely want to speak with us as soon as possible. So we're going to invite you, we are inviting you to a complimentary 45-minute breakthrough development strategy session. Just have to go to this web link here, newmavericks.com/apply, and just schedule there. And we've only got a limited amount of space for calls over the next 4 days. So you must apply for this free call just by scheduling a time and filling out a short application survey. So thanks so much for your time and tuning in and your attention here. I hope it's been valuable to you. Look forward to any comments and feedback and how we could be of service to you in really creating that revolutionary result that really gives you higher quality relationships, that allows you to have more good fortune, all these market fluctuations that go on, and ultimately that you experience a long, successful tenure and good health. Thanks so much.